Was good, was good, was good. Ashy Knuckles back up in this thing one more again. Shout out to the LDBC. Shout out to everybody that fucks with Ashy Knuckles boxing. Um, Shoot, I was so tired yesterday, man. When I came to the house, I kind of chopped it up with family for a minute, and then I crashed. I'm not. But when I woke up this morning, I started looking at the internet, seeing what the latest news, see what's going on in the sport. Hold on a minute, let me adjust this. And I saw this fight that took place last night, and it was the Maxim. I can't say this shit. Dadashev against Sabril Matthias, and it sounds like it was a really brutal fight. I don't know if it was very technical or whatnot. All fights have ebbs and flows and whatnot. And I couldn't tell you anything about the fight because I didn't put a set of eyes on it. But what I read is that, what is it, Dadashev, whatever his name is, was rushed to the hospital on Friday night following his technical knockout defeat to Matthias. That's what I read. Says, moving on, it says an unsteady Dadashev vomited in a bucket as he attempted to leave ringside on his own. He was taken from the venue on a stretcher. You don't play boxing. It says he absorbed a lot of punishing punches from Matthias, particularly during the 11th and final round of the fight, ESPN televised. He wanted to continue, but Buddy McGirt threw in the towel once he came back to the corner that 11th round. First and foremost, I want to say I hope that he turns out all right. Probably have some type of swelling on the brain, considering the fact that your person was getting beat up when you in the ring, head of your body. The brain in itself is already a sensitive muscle that should not be getting beat on. I've said in the past that even though I am a real boxing fan, for real, when you really look at it, the body is not made to take and endure this type of punishment. It's a brutal sport. You do not play boxing. And that's why I have zero tolerance for any of these fake ass dudes that get online, acting like they're fighters, lying to the people. You know what I'm saying? First thing they want to do is they want to go to the gym and have somebody take pictures of them so they can get online and start lying. You know what I'm talking about? And all I need to do is see somebody. I could see somebody on a double end bag. I could see them work the double end bag or the heavy bag or the speed bag, and I could tell first right off the top if they ever fought before. So you can pass that shit off on them newcomers. You can't pass that shit off on me. I can air you out. I just choose not to. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of them, especially in the media. Lying motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Um, Boxing is a beautiful sport. Don't get it twisted. I love it. But for all those who aspire to be a fighter, just know when you get hit with that first left hook, you're going to know whether you cut out to do this or not. Punches hurt. They fucking hurt. You know what I'm talking about? And the facts get revealed to you real quick when you put on the headgear and you go in there and try to see what you got. And for guys that really have no experience, they'll put you in there with a kid, like men. They'll put you in there with a kid. They'll put you in there with a kid that's in the amateurs. I done seen kids beat the brakes off of grown men who think they got something. You know what I'm saying? Boxing ain't nothing to play with, man, at all. And like I said, for the guy who got hurt, Dadashev, I hope everything works out. I saw an interview with Buddy McGirt where he said he saw his fighter getting hit, and round after round, it just looks like he was getting hit a little bit more and more. until he would ask his charge, let me stop the fight. Of course, a fighter being a fighter going to say no. But Buddy McGirt, being experienced, knew when it was time to throw in the towel and call it, because just like the official, the fighter's corner should also save the fighter from themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because a fighter is not going to want to quit. A real fighter is not going to want to quit. He going to want to go out on the shield, and sometimes they're too tough to lay down. That going out on their shield means going out permanently. And it's unfortunate, but this sport right here, boxing, we've had a lot of casualties in our sport. It's the effects of these punches, man, can be catastrophic. So while the fighter is getting his head beat in, mind you, he's in tip-top shape to do battle for 12 rounds. And at the time of battle, he really isn't cognizant of really how much damage he's enduring in the fight. In fact, after basically every fight, they don't know how much damage that they're really taking until their adrenaline goes down, they're back in the dressing room, or they took a shower, they're on their way back to the house or whatever, or they're on their way to the hospital to get checked out to make sure that they're okay. That's when the swelling starts taking place. That's when the swelling starts taking place. That's when that real pain starts setting in. And that's when they know how much punishment they take. They go to the restroom, they start pissing, and there's blood all in the commode. You know what I'm saying? Boxing is brutal. You know what I'm saying? And it's very fortunate that he had an experienced cornerman in his corner to know, hey, I'm calling it quits. You can't take no more, or maybe you can take no more, but I'm gonna save you from yourself. You got a wife, you got a family, you have a life, and I hate to see your life get extinguished in this ring from you trying to achieve something when you can always fight another day. One loss don't mean much. A loss is catastrophic in today's game, but a loss of a life is even worse. So kudos to Buddy McGirt for stopping that fight. And maybe if all things end well, Dadashev will come out the hospital with minor injuries. We just seen Zab Judah go to the hospital for punishment taken in his last fight. Man, he need to hang it up, and that's just 100. But like I said, a lot of fights have taken place, even within these last few eras, where it didn't end well for the fighter. I was on Junior the Truth show. I wasn't on the show. I was in the chat just chopping it up back and forth with Junior as he does a show. Yeah, great show, by the way. For anybody who never checked out Junior the Truth, he got a lot of personality. He built for that shit. Check out Junior's show during the week. It's live. You know what I'm saying? But maybe it was a week ago or whatever, he was talking about the Anthony Yarde versus Kovalev. And I mentioned in the chat, I was like, Kovalev has, Junior was talking about, how he's tough, he can punch or whatnot. Everybody knows that. But and how he was putting that heat on Andre Ward in the first fight, and how Andre Ward, watched the tape, did what he had to do, and basically beat the fight out of him in the second fight. And I had mentioned that Kovalev killed a man with his hands. And I don't know if he thought I was joking or not, or whatever, but it's the truth. That ain't no joke. You know what I'm saying? Kovalev, when he was coming up through the ranks in Russia and all in Eastern Europe, he fought a man named Roman. I could do a search on it real quick. What's that motherfucker name? Roman some goddamn body. Roman Semyakov. Roman Semyakov. I'm probably saying it wrong. I'm not Russian. Forgive me for that. But in that fight, and this one Kovalev was really trying to find himself, and he was knocking everybody dead. But he fought a guy named Roman Semyakov, and he would, get the best of him in that fight. And unfortunately, Semyakov didn't make it, and he would die from injury sustained in that ring. And that's one of the most recent episodes of somebody getting killed in the ring. But boxing has a a bad history of it. You know, that's probably the biggest black eye in the sport. Um, I can remember, and I know some of the old OGs of the boxing community online knows when Levander Johnson had that fight with Jesus Chavez. Jesus Chavez was he fought Mayweather. You know, y'all for y'all Mayweather fans, y'all know who he is. He fought Mayweather. He fought Eric Morales. He fought Carlos Hernandez. He fought a lot of guys. You know, he fought Julio Diaz. He fought just he got a good resume. You know, he's from Austin. Um, and Levander Johnson, you know, was a was a guy. I think he was being promoted by Lou DiBella, and they had a war, boy. They had a war. And Levander Johnson, he probably wasn't the most skilled guy, but he had a big heart, you know. And he was the first of his family to achieve something like that. And when he won that first world title, I think it was a vacant title he won. Man, he was so proud, bro. He was so proud for putting in that work and finally achieving his dream of securing a title in his division. But in his first defense of his title, he would go up against a former world champion, Jesus Chavez, who we know is rugged. You know he come to do it. I mean, for guys, Eric Morales fans, you know when Eric Morales fought him, Jesus Chavez injured his rotator cuff. And from that point on in the fight, all the way to the 12, he fought Eric Morales even tougher. Eric Morales had to go through that. He had to go through that water, boy, to get that victory. So you know how tough he is. You know, all the great fighters know what it is to fight with injury. Ain't no quitting. The fight must go on. You injure your hand, all you got to do is throw that bitch. You know what I'm saying? You get a broken jaw like Antonio Tarver when he fought Eric Hardin in their first fight. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about your jaw. You just got to keep on fighting. You know what I'm saying? Just like Arthur Abraham against Edison Miranda in their first fight, he got his jaw broke, was moving around the ring with his mouth open like this, and he got a fight like that because his jaw broke. Don't worry about stopping the fight. You just gonna keep on fighting because that's what this sport is made of. They warriors. You know what I'm saying? The show must go on. Ain't no quitting. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, the fight with Jesus Chavez and Levander Johnson would end in a TKO loss for Levander Johnson, for which he was devastated. And he would go back on his own to the dressing room where, he would undress or whatever like that until he collapsed. And he was rushed into the hospital. And unfortunately, Levander Johnson would succumb to his injuries in that championship fight with Jesus Chavez, and he would die. In fact, y'all can go on Twitter, man, and tweet Lou DiBella, and he'll probably send you a link in case you want to donate $1, $2, $5, whatever it may be to his family. Just to help out, if you want to. I'm sure he can send you the link. And that'll be real cool. But even before that, you know what I'm saying? You got many, 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 many times that a fighter would, train and have a good camp and come into the ring and have a gruesome fight. And, that would be the end of him, the end of his career, the end of his life. Another Cincinnati boy, Ezra Charles, one of the best light heavies in the whole sport of boxing ever. Even though I don't think he ever won a world title because of the politics of boxing at that time. I don't think he ever won a light heavyweight world title, but he fought all the greats, the Archie Moores, the Walcotts, you know what I'm saying? He was beating these guys. He fought Archie Moore like 3 times, Walcott like 3 times. He's fought all these guys. He beat these guys, you know what I'm saying? But he was one of the greatest heavyweight champions too. He was a great heavyweight champion, his time really came as a heavyweight when Joe Louis was kind of slipping, you know what I'm saying? He got aged, and even though he would have a fight with Joe Louis was only fighting for money at the time. He was still tough, mind you. But Ezra Charles, when he was coming up through the ranks, he would fight a guy named Sam Baruti. A guy named Sam Baruti. Now, this wasn't in the light heavyweight. I think this was when he was a middleweight, because Ezra Charles was in the game for a while. He started off light, ended up at the highest division that there is in the sport of boxing. But he fought a guy named Sam Baruti, man, and they would fight, and You know, Ezra Charles, being a great fighter that he was, you know, he was doing his thing. You know, they said he was a nice guy outside the ring, which a lot of fighters are, you know, nice guys. You know, everybody not necessarily from the street, but in that fight, he would put them hands on Sam Baruti, who had worked his way up to secure a fight like that, a good fight like that for himself, to try to make a name for himself, and it didn't end well for him too. Then you got the Ray Boom Boom Mancini against the Dooku Kim. That's one of the more popular ones in the 80s, back when Mancini was a world champion. And him and Dooku Kim would go to war. Blood know about this fight too. You know, y'all can ask Blood Boxing about this fight. I think he had a video about it years ago, back in the gap. Um, and you know, Mancini being who he is, you know, as the fight would progress, you know, it was pretty competitive at first, but um, he would go up, you know, he would be busting Dooku Kim upside his head, and he would have a uh, brain hemorrhage caused by the injuries in that fight. And Dooku Kim would he would die. He would die after that fight, man. Rest in peace to all these warriors who put it all on the line for this sport. Um, y'all can see Ray Boom Boom Mancini. He does the commentary for PBC Boxing. He'll probably be doing it tonight on the pay-per-view with probably with Sean Porter, Errol Spence, and you know, whoever else they have out there. Uh, I can go back as far as probably arguably the greatest fighter to ever lace up a pair of gloves, and Sugar Ray Robinson, who I believe is the greatest. It's 1A and 1B, him and Muhammad Ali, at least in my book. Um, and Sugar Ray Robinson, you know, we already know he was Mozart in that bitch. You know what I'm saying? He was tough. He was fast. He could box. He'll bang out with you. It ain't like he running from you. He had the super fast hands. He had power out of this world. I think he was the one that coined the triple left hook, which you see guys, even Jerry Hurd try to throw triple left hooks with his slow ass. You know what I'm saying? But all that came from Sugar Ray Robinson. In fact, Muhammad Ali patterned his whole fight game after Sugar Ray Robinson. He'll openly tell you that. You know, when he was young, he would be on the mic talking shit. Maybe like Sugar Ray and I are two pretty dancers. Why would he say that? You know what I'm saying? Because that's who he patterned his style after. Now, granted, he was a heavyweight, and for a heavyweight to be fighting on their toes like that, moving around the ring rhythmically, um, was you didn't see that in the heavyweight division. So, you know, most people, you know, they look at Muhammad Ali as the pioneer of a guy being able to be so swift on his toes and to fight like that rhythmically, like it's water. You know what I'm saying? And in fact, Sugar Ray Leonard would pattern his style after Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm saying? Out of his own mouth, he says that. But Sugar Ray Leonard had a fight with Jimmy Doyle, and Jimmy, you know, the night before the fight, Sugar Ray Robinson had a nightmare. So he had a nightmare, and in that nightmare, he dreamed he killed that man in the ring. So he was ready to throw off the fight. So they sent ministers, they sent all type of people up to his dressing room to convince him, man, it was just a dream. I'm sure some of y'all know the story. It was just a dream. You know, that don't mean these things are gonna happen in the ring. You know, it's a fight. Both of you guys are professionals. You know, of course, we all want everybody to leave the ring healthy, this, that, and the third. But just because you had a dream that you would injure a man in the ring, I mean, you've done this over 100 times before. You know, you haven't. Nobody has succumbed to the injuries. You know, just go ahead and go on with the fight. And it turned out to be a premonition. I think I said that word right, because in that fight he would deliver a hellacious beating on Jimmy Doyle, um, and Jimmy Doyle would die. And that really fucked up. That really fucked up Sugar Ray Robinson. I don't think he was ever the same after that. Even Jesus Chavez, when he killed Levander Johnson, he was never the same after that. You know what I'm saying? It does something to these guys psychologically because that could have easily been them. You know, there's two fighters and there's two men. I mean, nobody's in there robotic. You know, ain't no cyborgs in there. You know, these are two human beings. You know what I'm saying? Any fighter can ultimately be killed from this sport. So that's why I take it direct offense to these fake motherfuckers be acting like they be fighting and want to just get online and just be lying. Or these dudes that be acting like, you know, such and such fighter, he's a hoe. If I see him, I'm a slap that motherfucker. I'm gonna beat that. No, you ain't. You ain't gonna do shit. You know what I'm saying? I remember Juan Diaz. That's my own homeboy. You know, he from Southside H Town. You know what I'm saying? I'm from Harlem Clark. He from Alameda Plaza. So it ain't like, even though he was a nice guy, it ain't like he grew up around all nice people. You know what I'm saying? It's the hood. The hood is the hood. You know what I'm saying? And him being a small dude, he got tested by head. You know, I don't want y'all to go, you know, tell him this shit. But anyway, things happen in the streets, and this was years ago. I ain't even gonna go into it now that I think about it. But a big dude has stepped on Juan Diaz, a dude damn near my size. If y'all know me, I'm a giant, and Juan leveled his fucking ass. Um, uh, but anyway, moving on, man. Just forget I even said that shit. Anyway, um, I can also think back to Emil Griffith. Emil Griffith, you know, he would have several fights with Benny Paret. That was his arch enemy. You know, Emil Griffith is a great fighter. He's an undisputed welterweight champion. He was an undisputed middleweight champion, and his arch enemy was Benny Paret. You know, Emil Griffith was it turns out he was a fighter, but he was a homosexual fighter, and he was, you know, in the closet. He didn't want to, you know, air it out, but there was already rumbling, you know, that he grabbed some man on their ass or some shit like that. But anyway, Benny Paret knew all about it, and he would openly call Emil Griffith, you know, you a queer, you're a faggot, this, you're that. So there was real bad blood between them dudes, bro. But in that last fight with Emil Griffith, they had wars, bro. I mean, I can remember it. I mean, of course, that wasn't my era, but I've watched the old videos on it. And Benny Paret would retreat to a corner. I guess he got hurt, and Emil Griffith would come with a barrage of punches, and you just see Benny Paret just kind of slink down in the corner, and eventually, you know, he was kind of like in a fetal position, if I remember it correctly, and then he would just basically lay down straight on his back, and he would die right there in the ring, man. Boxing ain't no punk, man. This ain't no sport. I think a lot of the fans get they see the lights, the suits, you know, they see everybody rushing to get views, following these guys around, this, that, and the other. The business aspect of boxing, maybe even the sport aspect of boxing. But boxing is no fucking joke, man. There's killers in that gym. You know what I'm saying? There's dudes that ain't got nothing, and they relying on this sport to give them everything that they can't get on their own outside of the sport. And if that means them going through you to get it, that's exactly what the fuck they gonna do. You know, it's brutal in that bitch. It's brutal in that ring. You know what I'm saying? Sparring, depending on what gym you go to, you know, it may be no mercy in that particular gym. You know what I'm saying? That when you get a fighter hurt, you're supposed to let them make it because you just sparring. Some gyms, you get a fighter hurt, fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Either you got it in you or you ain't got it in you. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of tough gyms around the states, you know? And that's just the United States. Don't even get me talking about these countries that aren't developed. You never know how brutal and tough it is in there. And you guys, I don't even know how many guys really know how many of these fighters got false teeth. You know what I'm saying? I say it all the time that I've seen guys get their teeth knocked out in the gym. I'm not just talking about Houston gyms. You know what I'm saying? I've been in hundreds of fucking gyms. You know what I'm saying? I don't always turn. I'm not Alex Sekback. I wasn't always trying to throw a camera in a motherfucker face. That ain't my style. You know what I'm saying? My cousin was a fighter too. I seen him beat motherfuckers up, and I seen him get his ass whooped. And I'm gonna tell you, I wasn't no fighter. That wasn't my sport. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't my sport. I'm not gonna come on the video lying to your ass. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna come on the video lying to you. You know what I'm saying? That's not my shit. You know? So I try the shit out. I ain't like it. You know what I'm saying? It's for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not. You hit me hard enough, and I'm gonna have to go get that thing. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm a peaceful dude. So trying to put hurt on me, you know, and I can't do nothing with you with these hands. I'm gonna try. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really took no L's in my lifetime, but you ain't whooping no fighter, dude. Get that out your mind. You get that out your mind. A regular civilian is not beating no fighter. You getting your ass whooped, and it ain't finna be pretty. You know what I'm saying? It ain't finna be pretty at all. But I knew then, you know, this is not my shit. So, you know, I got a lot of respect for what they do. You know what I'm saying? It's brutal up in there. A lot of these guys, you know, ain't no difference between us and them. Uh, but what they do for a living. Some of us punch a clock. Some of us punch other motherfuckers for a living. You know, sparring, all that. What's up, Brooklyn Child? You say, are you thinking about the fight from yesterday? Yeah, my screen not even catching all this. Hold up. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, man. I didn't I woke up this morning and I read what happened. I actually didn't see the fight, but I went over it, and that's kind of what prompted me to do a video this morning, um, talking about how brutal the sport is and how it's imperative that the referee and the cornerman save these guys from themselves when you know for a fact there's nothing they can do further in the ring, and they only getting uh, beat down, you know, in the ring. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's what prompted the whole thing, man. And you caught the end of it. Um, I'm about to wrap this thing up, in fact. But like I said before, man, you don't play boxing. James Tony wasn't just talking shit when he said that. It's for real. You know? It's for real. This ain't no game. You know, Monopoly is a game. Nintendo is a game. You know what I'm saying? Boxing is for real. You know what I'm talking about? And is it, you know, dudes losing their lives from the sport is as real as it gets. So for you guys who really didn't know much about the things that I said in this video, I hope you would educate yourself a little bit more on the sport. And for the guys that knew what time it was, help these new guys out, man. You know, it's easy to call these boys newbies or casual fans, but you only a casual fan once. You know, you can only go up from there. And I get tired of them dudes who just come to the sport, try to come to your channel and think they can teach you some shit. Like, get your ass, you'll get your ass on around here, man. That should be crazy to me. But he said dude was getting hit with big shots to the body. Hey, that'll do it, man. That'll do it, man. This hell, what was that fight? Corrales versus Jose Luis Castillo in the first fight, which was a fucking classic. That boy Chico, even though he won the fight, he said he was pissing blood for a week just from from what happened in that fight. You know, it's easy for us to see that fight and just have it on replay, ready to watch it any day of the week because of how entertaining it was. But you had two of the biggest and strongest, lightweights in the ring doing battle, and they trying to make it. See, they know about that fight. They know about throwing these hands. You know what I'm saying? This is what most of us know about. That's what we know about. You know what I'm saying? Or drinking beer or eating steak or whatever. What's up, Jay Good? That's what a lot of boxing fans know about. They don't know about the swelling that take place when the fight over, when they go back to the dressing room, when they getting in their vehicles, going home, and all of a sudden they nerves is jumping in their shoulder, or they can't see because the swelling around their eyes and got so damn big to where even with their eyes wide open, all they see is black. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I'm saying, they jaw fucked up. Or they got to go to the hospital. They can't sleep. They haven't, the effects from a fight are for real, man. This ain't like having a fight out on the street. That shit don't even last that long. You know what I'm saying? Most fights on the street don't even go a good minute or two. You know, dudes be tired after about 30 seconds of throwing hands. You know, they can run that mouth for about 5 minutes straight, but they can't fight for 5 minutes straight. You know what I'm saying? So no, the ring sorts the facts out, man. I say that all the time. In fact, I need to go and get that shit copyrighted because I say it all the time. Been saying it for years. But the ring sorts out the facts, man. And like I said before, man, shout out to all the people who have the courage to get in that square circle and do this for a living. And for those who aspire to be a fighter, once you step in that ring and you try this shit out, even if you do it only one time, I got a lot of respect for you for putting that putting your money where your mouth is and giving it a try. Cause ain't nothing easy about this sport at all, man. Nothing. And like I said, man, uh says prayers go out to Dadashev. I don't know how to say his name. Hope he recovers. I hope so too, man. I hope he's not the latest victim of the sport that has seen so many of these guys succumb from their injury. So, but on that note, man, um, hit that like button on the way out. If you didn't catch the video, you know, hit that bitch in the archive and just check me out. And I hope y'all enjoy the video, man. And most importantly, I hope y'all enjoy all the fights tonight, man. I know I will. You know, I talk a good game. You know, we all say things we don't mean when we're talking about the fighters, but it's imperative that at least at one point we let the fighters know, man. I mean, we're boxing fans. We're brutal. You know what I'm saying? But the respect is there, man. Even for the guys that's getting their ass tore out the frame, you ain't have to get in that ring. I'm not getting in it. You know, I tell you straight up. I'll box a dude on it. We can box outside. You know, dude think you want to choose me and you want to go out there in them streets. Oh, I do that, but I'm not putting no damn gloves on. I'm not putting them gloves on and getting in that ring. I'm not doing that. I'm not about to get in nobody in the ring and fight nobody who trained to do this shit. Because all the wrinkles that's in your game is gonna be revealed right before you. And one thing you don't want that to happen is you getting in there with an amateur fighter who a kid 16 years old, 15 years old, in your size, and then he do that to you because it can easily happen. I done seen it. So uh anyway, boxing is its own sport, need to be respected as such, man, by participants and the fans alike, man. But anyway, man, I'm beating a dead horse. It's your boy Ash Enough, man. Y'all holler back. I'm out this piece, man.